What is going on, everybody? I'm back with another field test video, and today we are going to be comparing how a 7-speed with the same glide and fade compares to a 5-speed with the same glide and fade. So we have as our mid-range, we have the Archive 5502, and then I also brought out a T-Bird which comes in at 7502. So like I said, the flight numbers are the same. The T-Bird is just 2 speeds faster. I've also brought out 2 Athenas that we'll try to use to compare as well. Basically the same as a T-Bird. The problem is these are an ESP plastic, and I thought this T-Bird in Champion plastic would compare better to this Prodigy plastic. I could be wrong about that, but I just figured the T-Bird would be better. So really, I'm just out here to see if there's any difference in flight characteristics between something that's a little faster and then a little bit slower. Now, I will not lie to you. It looks like the cicadas are back. I didn't realize those things respawned. And this field is kind of filled with them. I can see them all over the field, which is kind of nasty. And I hope they just don't attack me, and that will be okay. But we're just gonna give these a few rips. Another thing that I want to test is just distance. So I'll try to get the distance for each shot so that you guys are able to see kind of how much further a 7-speed goes than a 5. Try to get these as flat as I possibly can. Of course, it comes out on a little bit of hyzer. I mean, 5502, that's kind of what I would expect. I expect like a neutral, stable disc, which means it really just wants to go straight, but it'll have a minimal fade. I think that one was better flat. And that's kind of like a perfect flight, I would say. Like, that's what I am thinking those flight numbers should do. We'll go ahead with the T-Bird next and just see if it has a similar flight to that. A little bit of hyzer. I feel like that one was really similar to the first mid-range shot I threw, just a little bit of hyzer, but with the 7-speed, it seems like it's pushing obviously like a lot faster. It's got a little bit more movement to the left. So again, I'm trying to go flat here. We'll start with the mid-ranges again, but the biggest thing is I want to get that T-Bird flatter so we can actually have a fair comparison. That was pretty dang flat out of the Archive. Even though I pulled it a little bit, I would say that actually came out relatively flat. But you can see how like the 5-speed, it doesn't really like push hard to the ground. It's kind of a little bit floatier than that T-Bird was last time. And that actually came on a tiny bit of anhyzer, really close to flat, but a little Annie. I feel like that was pretty flat. And really it just fades a little harder, I think. Not a ton though. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I think the speed helps it like get to the ground a little bit quicker if it's not thrown as hard. Here's the Athenas. That Athena held a line like crazy. It just kind of keeps going. The mid-ranges obviously come out a lot sooner than that. I think as far as distance is going, I'm not putting everything that I have into these discs. I feel like the mid-ranges are probably pretty close to my max distance. But the T-Bird, I think I can push further. I was just more worried about getting the angle right. So eventually throughout this video, maybe the ending shots, I'm really gonna try to get everything I have into them and see just how far of a distance difference that there is. All right, next, my favorite shot to throw, the hyzer flip. Now with these flight numbers, I'm not really expecting these to really hyzer flip, more like just push on hyzer. But our goal is to throw a shot as if we are trying to hyzer flip them, just to see the difference. Does the higher speed hyzer flip or does the lower speed? Regardless, maybe they don't at all, like either of them, but we're gonna find out. Yeah, see, like that. That's kind of what I've expected to happen. Is it doesn't really flip up, it just kind of pushes on the baby hyzer. Try the Champion T-Bird now. That one I felt like was semi-close to having a little flip up out of it, but in the grand scheme of things, I think that flew pretty similar. I just had pulled it a little to the right. Like, I think that was still just kind of pushing on hyzer, even though like at the middle-ish flight, I thought it was gonna pop up, but it really didn't. Yep, the Athena. I mean, I think that was super comparable to that first mid-range shot. They don't really flip up, they just kind of ride it. All right, so far throughout this video, I really think we're seeing very similar flights out of them. It's just what the numbers would suggest. The 5-speed, just a little bit slower. It doesn't penetrate through the air as good or as fast as the 7-speed. The 7-speed kind of hooks a little harder, fades a little bit harder, and I think that's just due to the speed of the disc. And also, I just think the mid-range is just a little floatier, or you can tell that it's a little floatier rather than the 7-speed. That could be a little surprising. I think sometimes we have in our heads, or maybe this is just me, but when I think of like a slow speed disc thrown really hard, sometimes I think it's just gonna like turn over. It's not gonna have the same flight as the numbers would suggest because you're throwing it so hard. But sometimes that's just not the case, and we're kind of seeing that right now, even though there's only a 2-speed difference. So just because it's slower, you can still throw it really hard. It's gonna have some torque resistance and kind of stay on the same flight path. I just want to try a couple more throws here. So one being a nice Anheuser shot, see how that goes for us. And then I just want to see like max distance shot. So maybe that's a little bit of Anheuser thrown really far. Wow, the mid actually got to flat, which is kind of dope actually. Let's see if I can do that a little bit higher. Yeah, check that out. So the mid-range has enough stability to kind of have a slow turn, but then it's able to fade out still. Oh, that was too nose up, Max. That was a terrible, that was even close to Anheuser. That was definitely put on a tad bit of Anheuser, but kind of same as the mid-range, just a little faster fade. Yeah, check that out. I mean, gosh, that is so similar to that second mid-range shot. Let me get that T-bird one more time just to confirm everything. There you go, much better. It took me 3 tries to show you exactly what the Athena did and exactly like the Archive did as well. So yeah, I mean, so far, speed really hasn't changed a whole lot about the flights. It's just about, you get a little bit of extra distance with the 7-speed, I feel like. Also, when you actually get to a course, you also have to start thinking about skip and how the greens play, that sort of thing with a faster rim. To wrap this video up, I'm just gonna do a quick distance check. So 1 shot each for all of these discs, and we're just gonna check these distances out real quickly as if I'm throwing, you know, a max power shot. Oh, I think that's gonna be a good start for the mid-range. Holy cow. Oh, that one's bad. It's incredible how it actually pans out, and the wind actually pushed it further than I thought. That could be really good instead. Come on, pan out. Be real good. We'll see. Heck yeah. If that hits the road, hit the road. So close. Sorry if you can't see that. If it doesn't hit the tree, that's gonna be my best one yet, I think, and it hit the tree. All right, guys, there you have it. That is the distance competition between a 5-speed and some 7-speeds here. Definitely had some help from the wind because I do not throw mid-ranges 360 feet, I'll tell you that right now, as well as the Athena going 400 feet. That's a huge Athena shot for me, and I wouldn't do it without the wind, I'll tell you that. But as far as the comparison goes, I really think we get really similar flights out of each of these discs. It's just about, you know, how fast they do those things. I think the flight numbers held pretty true as to how I would perceive those numbers. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Were you seeing the same thing as I? What do you guys want to see next? Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one.